Launch day. Every now and then in life, there is a launch day, when you get to be the astronaut on a mission, the one who would like to discover a new world full of opportunities, the one who will have an impact on the humankind, bring wisdom and prosperity. Every now and then, there is a launch day. And on a launch day, you feel the energy, the power to succeed on your mission. But there is another story. When I was 6, my mom brought a computer back home. And she asked me to sit at the table, and with solemnity she said, "Tina, there are 2 types of people. There are builders, and there are consumers." And then she paused, she looked me straight in my eyes, and she asked me, "Which group do you want to belong to?" You can imagine the impact of this question on myself. It was 1988, the world without the internet. A few years after the dinosaurs disappeared, and I was 6. But nevertheless, without ever spending a thought on the meaning or the word purpose before, this is the impact that a mom has. I knew my purpose in that very moment, and I knew that I wanted to be a builder. And oh my God, I was building. I was building all the time. I took this computer, and first I built games for DOS with letters and dots, and then I used it with improving technology to build stuff in a graphical interface. So at high school, I built the newspaper with a technique similar to what you use today to prepare your presentations. Later on, when I graduated school, rapid DSL connectivity had arrived to Europe with the iPhone, and I built the first online fitness app. And the more I was building, the more I liked it because it gives you a sense of accomplishment. It's very gratifying. So I kept on building stuff without ever asking the question, what's the purpose of it? So I built a family, I built a house, I began to build a career, until one day I realized that during all my life, this building has been supported by technology. And by technology developing, building has become so much more easier, so much more efficient. And it was only 20 years after this conversation, in 2008, at the verge of the financial crisis, when I realized that the efficiency of technology changes its effect. It's very evident in parenthood. If you have children, you can't become too much of an efficient parent. But it's not so evident with software or technology. I want to give you an example. Think about the stock exchange, the place where people buy and sell shares for companies, hopefully for your companies too one day. Before there was information technology, software, on the stock exchange there was a person, an investment broker. And he was adding value to companies by selecting them based on their numbers, but also based on their purpose. Based on if they were creating jobs in some rural region, based on the number of employees, based on their labor politics. And then software came, automated trading systems were developed, and they enabled investment opportunities in split seconds. Opportunities optimized for short-term gains that were not available to people. Not only not adding value to businesses, completely neglecting their long-term vision or purpose, but actually, we today know, draining out almost the entire value out of them. And this is when I knew the efficiency of technology changes its effect. And it's not a news, at least not for me anymore, because technology has always been driving society forward. We had, with the first industrial revolution, we invented the steam engine, we released our hands. We could produce mechanically, we gained efficiency. And then we invented the electricity, so we could produce in masses, we could produce a lot more than we need. And then, at some point, we invented the computer, and it was possible to automatically compute stuff, so we could leave the machine to do the work for us automatically. This was even more efficient. And the problem now, actually, it has started with the invention of the iPhone, artificial intelligence, and the internet, is that we are about, or actually already have gained, exponential productivity. Exponential productivity is a category of efficiency in itself. And I want to illustrate the difference with an old story about a man who invented the game of chess for his king. Supposedly, the king liked it so much that he suggested to grant him any wish in return, anything that he would wish for. The man wouldn't be an old wise guy if he had just, demanded gold. He demanded wheat, but in a particular order. He said, I only want some wheat grains, but 1 wheat grain on the first square of the chessboard, 2 on the second, 4 on the third, 8 on the fourth, and so on, doubling on every square. It's the exponential function. And on a small chessboard with only 64 squares, this amount of wheat quickly sums up to 18.5 quintillion wheat grains. This is more wheat than we have on the planet right now. It's more than we have sandcorns on the beaches on the planet right now. It's more than the largest manufacturer of wheat in the world, China, can produce in 6,000 years. This is exponential productivity. Very quick, very fast. And why does this disturb us? There is another thought experiment by the Swedish philosopher Nick Bostrom. Nick Bostrom said, if we have this exponential productivity that the internet has given us, and we take an artificial intelligence, which is basically a robot that can learn, what would happen if we would leave a very simple robot to produce something very simple by itself? And he said the most simple thing, the simplest thing ever, is a paperclip. You only need to fold it 3 times. This can be done by everybody. And he created this experiment in which you imagine a robot that is producing paperclips, and because it has artificial intelligence, meaning the ability to learn, it learns. It becomes more efficient and more efficient. Like we people, it gets better in producing more, faster, quicker, whatever it is that we all strive for. In the end of the experiment, the paperclip maximizer becomes creative and produces paperclips from stone, from wood, until one day a critical mass of efficiency is achieved, and the entire planet is turned into paperclips, including us people. Of course, it's an imaginative scenario, but this is exponential productivity. And this is what we already have. And this is why it's evident that in the future, actually already today, efficiency is a given. So coming back to my story, as an entrepreneur, I was surrounded by other founders like you, who were intelligent and ambitious, and everybody wanted to get there faster for their kids, for their personal recognition, for their companies. Everybody wanted to make it. And by doing so, we were all running after efficiency, but now I knew efficiency is a given. Why are we doing this? And then I knew, with the ubiquitous adoption of information technology, because software is today not only at the stock exchange, it's not only in your cell phone, it's everywhere. It's in human resources, it's in banking, it's in the bus. So it's actually everywhere, in every single field, in arts, and every place is converging with digital technology. So the more it is true, the more we are actually all builders. And this is where I realized that my mother's theory had its quirks, because it's not true anymore. In the digital world, with every click, with every like, with every purchase, we are all builders. We create the reality of today and the future, tomorrow. Especially on a planet that is full of challenges, not just the climate crisis, but rising migration rates, rising skill gap, knowledge gap, inequality, extreme poverty. So I was asking myself, in a world full of problems, and full of efficiency, why would you start a company that does not good, that does no good? Why would you ever start a non-profit or a for-profit again? And I realized that the time has come to be on purpose, to start on purpose. And don't get me wrong, I only know startups, but I believe this is true for everything. If you want to start being a parent, to start being a good friend, to start being a good student, to start being a good citizen, the time is now to start doing it on purpose, because you are a builder, we all are, and you are having an impact anyway. So you better take the ownership of this. And I have brought you 3 things that you need to know for starting on purpose, because I read the deck and I'm really excited. There are some really great ideas around it. Starting on purpose, rule number 1. Doing the things right is not the same as doing the right things. Doing things right, this is efficiency. And we said efficiency is a given. The problem with doing things right and the right things is that you can automate the upper one. You can automate doing things right. You can learn to write a business plan. You can learn to sell stuff. You can learn to build products. You can even teach a machine to do it for you. There are great artificial intelligence writing better essays than most people. You can automate and give away things right doing. But you can't automate. You can't even make it easier to do the right things. Do you know what the problem is with the right things? It's not a big vision that you put in your PowerPoint slides, like the purpose of the company is this and that. Doing the right things, this is every conversation, every decision, every interaction, every relationship, every day, all day, every year. That's the problem with doing the right things. It does not allow for efficiency, because the efficiency changes the effect. So this is rule number 1. And I want to tell you, I know this is very trivial. Probably there is not a single person in this room and online now who would say, but why would I want to do the wrong things? Of course I want to be a good person, and I want that me and my work do the world a better place. But I am telling you, especially as a startup, when you're short on money, when you're short on customers, when you're short on recognition, if you have started out for the wrong reasons, if you have started out of fear, for revenge, for fame, power, you will very quickly find yourselves compromising on things right. And it's not like the big decision is coming and then you're turning from good to bad in one day, in one night. It's just a series of very small events where you're going to say yes or no, not just how you truly feel, that will eventually, many years later, will lead to you not having the choice to do the thing that is right. So it's very easy to compromise on purpose, especially if you are not on purpose, if you're not consciously trying to do the right thing all the time. So this is the second thing. There is something I call purpose-driven entrepreneurship that is beyond the dichotomy of for-profit and non-profit. That is beyond the dichotomy of efficiency or effect. That is beyond the dichotomy of money or love. It's entrepreneurship that is simply there to make the world a better place, and everything else follows. And I believe in today's digital world full of opportunities where efficiency is a given, the time for this type of entrepreneurship has come. And now the third and last thing, impact. I have a great news for you and a bad news. And I will start with the good news. You have graduated an amazing program at one of the best universities in the world. You are predominantly white, in the middle of Europe, in a wonderful country that still lives democracy. Chances are that you are going to be successful. You're going to go out there, build those companies. You're going to find those partners, raise this money, and you're going to win those customers. chances are that you are going to be successful and you will become having an impact. And here comes the bad news, the third law of Newton. And the third law of Newton is every action has an equal and opposite reaction, which by definition means that every time when you are about to have an impact, change something, you're going to get resistance. This is what you're getting. Otherwise, you're not having an impact. Try raising a child without resistance. You're not having an impact. Try making a company adopt your product. You're not having an impact. If there is no resistance, it's not real. And this is the bad news. There is this red inflection point, the moment when you're going to feel the resistance. And this is the point, and this is the bad news, where most of you will say, well, in this world full of opportunities, where I could do so many other things, I might just leave it for somebody else. And this is the story of humankind. But guess what? The benefit of purpose is the courage to pursue it. If you are on purpose, with your venture, with your relationship, with whatever it is that you're doing, this little point will stay in the past, and you're going to have your impact. So this is the good news. The benefit of purpose is the courage to pursue it. All of that I have summarized in one expression. It's called BIGHEARTVENTURES. In this, I want to remind you of the three things about being on purpose. The one is doing things right is not the same as doing the right things, and you have to be very careful because the second one you cannot automate. The second thing is startups today don't need to be for-profit and non-profit. They can and have to be both because we have a lot of problems to solve, and we can do it together. And the third is whenever you feel the pain, this is because you're having impact. Because by definition, when you're having an impact, you get resistance back. This is the beginning of success. And those 3 points I have summarized in this expression of BIGHEARTVENTURE, because I believe success does not come on the launch day. It comes many, many, many years later in days. And it only comes if you have tackled all of those big, hard, small red points with courage. And this is how BIGHEARTVENTURES come together. So big is your purpose. Why is it big? Because it's bigger than you. It's not about your wish, your stuff, your career. It's about the world. How your startup is making one person's users, countries, conditions better. It's about your heart because it's your values. If you stop listening to this voice here, now when it's quiet, you're at the beginning of the company, there is a lot you can control, a lot of time to think. You will not be able to hear it later on. And ventures, because there is no risk in courage. Courage is not being neglecting of risk, it's knowing that it's the right thing to do. So BIGHEARTVENTURES are an act of courage, and because a lot of us as entrepreneurs, especially in the beginning of the journey, in a country like Germany, are celebrated like brave people, which is true. A startup is quite a tough thing. And it's not tough because you work so long that your back is hurting and you gain weight and you lose your friends and it's summer and you don't go outside and then you have to fight with this customer and then your co-founder is going and then you need to pay him back but he's not working. This is not the reason why startups are hard. Why startups are hard is that it takes a long, long, long time to be all those good things at the same time. And this is why I say it's not courage to start something. It's not entrepreneurship that takes courage. It's purpose that does. Because there is nothing easier and more pleasant than starting something new when all opportunities are open on a launch day. But it takes courage and persistence to go where the successful people go. And one I know from all the books and all your stories, the world has changed. Culture, religion, countries, geography, the climate, everything is changing. But one thing has always been constant. Change is created by people with purpose, who stick to their values and to their goals for quite a long time, and don't do it for the wrong reasons, but to make the world a better place. And I know it's a lot, but I know that if you know your own purpose, how you are making the world a better place, and what does this mean for you, your values, you are going to become unstoppable. Because this is how the world has turned so far. I have brought some tips for you in the Big Heart Ventures book. You can also follow me on social media for more. And there is another thing that you can do. You can join the community, because chances are, again, that there is one other person in this room or online or in this city or in Germany or in this world, in this digitally connected world, that wants to fight the same problem with you. And together, in a community, you can do it quicker and better. Also, beyond launch day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tina. That was such a great pleasure to have you here today. It's been a great honor, honestly, to have her with us.